Jerry Yang and David Philo, two of the youngest and most successful players in Silicon Valley. And they're not bad at foosball either.
Oh, you're dead. You're so dead.
It may look like they're goofing off, but that's exactly how they became billionaires before the age of 30. They did it by discovering that the mother of invention is not necessity, it's laziness and procrastination.
Yes! We're supposed to be doing our PhD thesis at Stanford University, but instead of writing our research and thesis, we spent our time looking at websites and putting them in a database. David,
because?
I couldn't tell you why. I think it's more attractive than our thesis.
What was your thesis
Our thesis was in computer-aided design, and then we were looking at the internet and saying, not that it's a business opportunity, it's just, man, it's a lot cooler, and you're talking with people around the world, and all these websites are coming out, and everything you can think of is on the web, even at that early stage. That's what got us really going.
For Jerry Yang and David Philo, the founders of Yahoo, it all began in this reconditioned trailer on the campus of Stanford University. They lived on pizza and intellectual adrenaline.
It's really hard to look back in those years and say, God, how do we survive on 4 hours of sleep or 2 hours of sleep or not sleep at all? But David and I had 2 desks in about a 10 by 10 space. It was perennially messy, and David is even messier than I am, which is hard to believe. We never have visitors in there because, it would certainly be a shock to most people.
What survived and emerged from that shocking mess now has a market value approaching $40 billion. 4 years after they began to procrastinate, the Yahoo directory has become the leading edge of the Internet. Since the beginning of the year, Yahoo has broadened its Internet reach by purchasing 2 companies, GeoCities and Broadcast.com, for a total of nearly $9.5 billion.
Gee, man, you been practicing or something?
No, the last time I played against you.
No way, man. That's the last time I played.
Yang and Philo managed to maintain the attitude of freewheeling grad students while running a huge worldwide business. How has your life changed in the past 4 years?
For the most part, my life is still pretty similar to what it was 4 years ago. I still spend most of my time doing Yahoo-related things. And that was true 4 years ago. It's still true today. Basically, my life is mostly consumed with Yahoo.
Wizards of Silicon Valley, sweethearts of Wall Street, Jerry Yang and David Philo, and their colleagues at Yahoo, next on Pinnacle.
This is Pinnacle with Beverly Shook.
Pinnacle is brought to you by Oracle Applications. Better information for better decision-making.
The biggest websites, from Amazon.com to Yahoo. And the biggest companies, from British Airways to General Motors, use Oracle for e-business. Do you?
Wouldn't it be great if your computer showed how things looked on your figure? At LandsEnd.com, it can. With our unique personal model, an online dressing room. LandsEnd.com. It's the website that fits you.
Qantas has some of the best food in the sky.
Yeah?
It's all as fresh as humanly possible.
USA?
Oh, and they really know how to look after a vegetarian.
Michael, would you like to hear a bird call?
Sure, Foghorn.
With MCI, a bird can call for just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. Now that, my friend, is a beautiful bird call.
Call, I say call 1-800-Sundays to sign up.
The Internet is revolutionizing business. From Egghead.com to eBay. From E-Trade to Excite. The companies that know the Internet best use Oracle for e-business. Do you?
Only CNN delivers an hour of hard news at 6:30, plus all the financial news from around the world you've come to rely on. From the best in the business. The Moneyline News Hour with Lou Dobbs, weeknight 6:30 Eastern on CNN and CNN FM.
Jerry Yang was born in Taiwan in 1968, the year of the monkey. What do you remember about Taiwan?
It was very vibrant. You know, I remember getting on buses, and it's just, you know, jam-packed, and it's hot, and it's sunny. But it was a great place growing up. You know, it was one of those places where you remember roller skating and flying kites in parks with hundreds and thousands of other people.
Tell me about what you remember earliest in your childhood.
Well, my mom and she's a very private person, and she's one of those people that I think make sacrifices for her, in this case, her sons, that most people don't understand and can't realize. And, you know, my father died when I was very young, when I was 2. And rather getting remarried and things like that, she decided to raise the 2 sons by herself. And moving to the United States when we were 10 and being able to do, you know, being a teacher for the last 20 years, she really brought us up on a set of values that's not based on money, it's not based on success, but about family, about being a decent human being, and about how do you contribute to the world around you.
She said you were always precocious. From the time you could talk, it was, you know, it was like, what's this for? What's that?
I think she, you know, obviously the stories about me over the years have changed. It used to be really, really bad. Now it's just kind of bad.
The Yang family settled in San Jose, California, long before anyone called it Silicon Valley, before the internet existed. And yet, the same year Yang was born, the Whole Earth Catalog, the forward-looking hippie Bible, published the first rumblings about a far-out new idea called computer networks. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, David Philo, 2 years older than Yang, was about to undergo a major lifestyle change. Were your parents at all a little counterculture, or were they hippies or anything?
I think they were hippie wannabes.
How so?
But they moved to Louisiana to actually to join, or kind of to start a community of families that live together on a community.
Like a commune?
Yeah, like a commune. I mean, there was a lot of shared responsibilities, and there was farming. And
so you grew up as a little boy with sort of this whole community of mothers and fathers and people.
Yeah.
How do you think that shaped you?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was, I know at the time we didn't necessarily like it because it was different. And so
different from your friends, what they had?
Yeah, and so I think as kids we kind of wanted to get out of there and live a more, I guess, standard life. So at the time we didn't necessarily like it, but looking back, I think it was a good experience.
Philo left Moss Bluff for Tulane University and an undergraduate degree in computer engineering. Then he left Louisiana for grad school at Stanford University, where he became a teaching assistant. One of his students was Jerry Yang.
Jerry Yang wasn't straight A, Jerry, so I don't know what I gave him. It's probably like a C.
Yang denies getting a C, but admits he was lazy and aimless in those days with a very short attention span. Despite his lack of ambition, he had a paper route in San Jose, and one summer he worked at NASA in what he calls a program for gifted dorks. Lazy, aimless, dorky, signs of greatness in the 90s. Yang and Philo, avoiding work with a vengeance, began to play around with their computers, which they named after their favorite sumo wrestlers. Surfing the fledgling World Wide Web, Dave stumbled upon Mosaic, considered one of the very first web browsers. He and Jerry began collecting lists of cool websites and emailing them to their friends. And quickly, a name and an industry was born.
We don't like typing long things. So before it was David and Jerry's Guide to the World Wide Web, and we had to type it out every time we wrote emails to people or whatever. So we were looking for a shorthand. And when we saw Yahoo, that was kind of our shorthand.
How Yahoo got its name and how grown-ups got into the game when Pinnacle returns.
The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. I should panic if interest rates rise, technology stocks fall, my daughter starts liking boys. Invest for the long term. Invest with discipline. AIM Mutual Funds.
You know, this Qantas Dreamtime business class seat reclines at the touch of a button. Ooh. Can't complain about the legroom either.
So many shirts, so little time. That's why LandsEnd.com has its unique Oxford Express, so you can choose just the shirt you want. click by click. LandsEnd.com. It's the website that fits you.
Well, I've decided. Tonight's the night I'm gonna pop the question.
So did you get the ring yet?
No, I had a better idea. I wanted to get her something that says, I'm really in this for the long haul. It's a train. What? I'm making a commitment here.
Call toll-free 1-877-99-TRAIN for a free train home comfort guide and learn how to choose the right air conditioning and heating system for your home.
The AIM Investor Pop Quiz. College may cost over $100,000. You should gamble on a hot stock tip, put everything in a savings account, smile and heat up a bottle. Have peace of mind. Call your financial consultant about AIM mutual funds.
Tuesday, she's risen to the top as actress, businesswoman, and TV icon.
I didn't realize at the time how powerful this medium is.
Oprah, People Profiles at a new time. Tuesday, 8/7 Central.
How much of the success that you've had do you attribute to your name?
I think, we do think the name as something that is one of our biggest assets. And, it kind of came about by accident.
It happened one night in the trailer. Yang and Philo were paging through the dictionary, fishing for a shorthand name for their fast-growing brainchild.
We started with YA and looked at things, and, there were Yankee, and there's not too many things that started with YA that kind of caught our attention. And David, I think, was the first one that says Yahoo, right? He was from Louisiana and grew up with that moniker, and he said that may be something cool, and we obviously went back and fit the acronym to it.
The acronym stands for Yet Another Hierarchical Officious Oracle. It was yet another college boy goof on pompous internet names.
Do you, Yahoo?
We never thought it was going to be a business brand. We never thought it was going to be a commercial brand. It was just a shorthand.
You weren't even thinking in terms of business.
Yeah, it was no business model, and it was a hobby for us.
Outside interest in their little hobby grew very quickly. Before long, Silicon Valley venture capitalists were asking, what are those guys doing? After incorporating, Yang and Philo's first official act was to hire a grown-up to run the business. Tim Kugel, a guitar-playing sports car enthusiast, signed on as Yahoo employee number 6. He's been an executive at Motorola and elsewhere before becoming Yahoo's chairman and CEO. He took Dave and Jerry's excellent adventure and made a business out of it. What attracted you to the company? You were actually, you'd been in some serious companies before then. What was your first impression here?
So there's something implicit. This is not a serious thing?
No, but I'm saying, when you were number 6.
It wasn't too serious. Yeah, you're right. It seemed to me that what was going on the web represented a pretty fundamental, very profound shift in the way people communicate worldwide. And I had a sense that there was something very profound going on here. They'd built something that people really need. Last thing is Jerry and David, 2 special people. I really liked them.
Right away?
Looked like fun, yeah.
Then Kugel recruited Jeff Mallett, a former Canadian soccer star, as president and chief operating officer. He's now the company's playmaker and cash goalie. Jeff, what do you think the winning combination is between the Kugel Mallett combination?
It's the first time. That's my first time I heard my job description ever. Yeah, so that was thank goodness I accomplished that. Well, I kind of look at it's not only Kugel Mallett, but I kind of look at my job is to kind of keep Jerry and David somewhat of a tether on those guys. Their job is to really look around the corner. TK is a perfect sort of new wave CEO that can stay just enough above everything going on to see the bigger picture and make sure we go in the right direction. And my job is to kind of get in between those two dynamics, the Jerry and David, who have a vision that's awesome, and TK, who's true CEO, and try to make sure at the end of the day that all adds up.
When Pinnacle returns, how Yahoo's growing up and the company's secret weapon that makes it the internet directory of choice 235 million times every day.
For news and information about industries important to you, check out CNNFN.com's Industry Watch section.
The biggest websites, from Amazon.com to Yahoo. And the biggest companies, from British Airways to General Motors, use Oracle for e-business. Do you?
PricewaterhouseCoopers, we're working with pharmaceutical companies to create new research and development strategies that will help them bring medicines to market in less time at less cost. Because every day a new drug is delayed can be the difference between just too late and just in time. PricewaterhouseCoopers, join us. Together we can change the world.
The internet is revolutionizing business. From egghead.com to eBay. From E-Trade to Excite. The companies that know the internet best use Oracle for e-business. Do you?
At first glance, Yahoo was a terrible business idea. Even Chief Yahoo Jerry Yang thinks so.
You started out with virtually no seed money, and you were giving this product away for free. Not exactly a good thing to go to a venture capitalist and say, gee, could you fund this?
Yeah, and you know, the running joke is still that Sequoia funded a company that gives away its product for free, and that's probably the first time they ever done that. And
it's still free today.
It is still free today.
But Sequoia Partners' $4 million venture capital investment in Yahoo helped turn a freebie into a cash cow. Yahoo is now worth some $40 billion a year in the stock market and pulls in revenues of $200 million a year, mainly from advertising. Making sure it stays that way, Jerry, David, TK, and Sparky. That's what the workers call the youthful captains of the world's newest industry, in a workplace that still reminds you of that college campus. The vision emerging from Yahoo's Santa Clara headquarters has changed. Today it hinges on seeing the product not just as a computerized Yellow Pages, but as an interactive new media company, attracting advertising dollars.
You've been growing quickly, about 200% a year. Can you maintain that pace?
We're going to have to. We're in an industry where the growth is so exponential, it's going to continue to grow, and if we want to continue to be in our position that we're in today, we're going to have to continue that pace.
All right, let's look at, in one corner we have Disney, we have General Electric. In the other corner we have AOL Netscape now, and we have Microsoft, which is now the #3 player. That's a lot to deal with when you come into work every morning. Is one of those big guys going to get you at some point?
I don't think so. We're already coming out of a year where best estimates are that there are close to 100 million people using the web. And that's slated to triple, at least, over the next 2 or 3 years.
And you have 50% of that market.
Yeah. Yeah, we do, in reach. So, big bunch of eyeballs, right? Huge supply of people using this thing called the web. And advertising dollars, e-commerce flowing onto the web and everything else. These are all measured in multiple billions of dollars now, already. So, huge primary supply of people, huge primary supply of dollars, more than a big enough market to support several global branded network players. We fully intend to be one of those.
They're talking about that when all this shakes out, there's only going to be 5.
If all the rules applied in the old business of what established the Disneys and the Time Warners, and if it carried across, we'd be really concerned. But most of these are new rules that are being done. And it makes it more challenging for traditional medias to evolve quickly. And I think what we're doing is we're born and raised on the web. We've been a part of setting the rules and being a part of that. We're going to be a little bit more agile, a little bit quicker to execute on that. Will they get it right? Of course they're going to get it right. How quickly? It's going to take a little while. It has taken them a little while. By then, hopefully, we've built a foundation where we're going to be one of the big 3.
Do you have any regrets looking back on something you would have done differently?
I think the trademark for both David and me, we're procrastinators. We like to wait as long as possible before making decisions.
But they quit procrastinating shortly after they went public in 1996. In the last 3 years, Yahoo picked up a string of smaller companies and 2 larger ones as it continues to transform itself into a next-generation internet network. GeoCities for $4.6 billion, a leading destination for audio and video streaming, and Broadcast.com for $5.7 billion. Although neither company has yet to post a profit, the Dallas-based Broadcast.com boasted overwhelming traffic when it helped broadcast a fashion show by Victoria's Secret.
Do you feel sometimes like you're, on the offensive or on the defensive perhaps, and that you're under attack all the time, that everybody is gunning for you, you know that?
Whether we're the underdog or we're the big guy, it really doesn't matter, because I think this space is always going to have very powerful competitors, and the competitive landscape continues to change.
Can you stay independent?
Oh, yeah. I tend to think the question is, you know, Yahoo's strategy has always been being a branded global company, right? And to be that, we're not going to take on somebody else's brand. We're nice guys, and we love to have fun, and this is passion, but we want to win.
When we come back, Yahoo's winners and secret surfers.
From the CNN Financial News headquarters in New York, this is CNN's Business Weekend, minding your business 7 days a week.
Michael, would you like to hear a bird call?
Sure, Foghorn.
With MCI, a bird can call for just 5 cents a minute every Sunday. Now that, my friend, is a beautiful bird call.
Call, I say call 1-800-Sundays to sign up.
Wouldn't it be great if your computer showed how things looked on your figure? At LandsEnd.com, it can. With our unique personal model, an online dressing room. LandsEnd.com. It's the website that fits you.
Obnoxious question time. I know you don't like to talk about what this has done for your personal wealth, but clearly it's a question. And I think of anybody, if you told me that it hadn't changed you, I think you're the one person I would believe of all the rich,
David, you can
all the
believe
rich
David.
people I've interviewed. But has it changed you? Has the money changed you at all?
I think that it's part of the culture here. I think both David and I have been relatively understated as far as what all this means, you know, and for me, it's not about the money that we did this. It's nice that we don't have to worry about making money. We don't have to worry about feeding our family and things like that. That's very, very important, and nobody should deny that. You know, being able to make a living is important. But there's only so much that you need, and there's only so much as a 30-year-old who's in love with his job, like me, need to do. I mean, I don't need 10 houses, I don't need 10 cars, I don't need planes, I don't need whatever. And as long as I have what I need to live on, the rest of it is devoted to Yahoo.
Do you draw a salary?
Sure, yeah, we have a salary. I don't know what it is this year. And, you know, again, we're not a cash culture here. You know, we really believe in having equity ownership of a company that we believe in. And that's reflected in the option grants that we give to every employee.
The financial incentives and the sheer joy of internet surfing make for a workforce so content, they're happy to practically live in the office.
And where did you sleep last night? Right under there.
Of all of Yahoo's 800-plus workers, the secret and soul of the operation is the surfers. They spend their days and nights evaluating thousands of websites, refining and updating the Yahoo directory, and helping make it the second most visited website after America Online.
You have an uncanny ability, you have had always, to know what it is that your viewers want, what's hip, what's cool, whatever you want to call it.
What we focused on in the past and continue to is adding the human touch. That continues to be the thing that differentiates us from any other experience that's out there.
What's a perfect day?
A perfect day is, boy, it's a day of having had one of those meetings that you look around the room, whether it's with outside people, with inside people, and lights went off in their eyes. And, you know, people go, God, we all just sat around for an hour and figured out something that nobody else is ever doing, and nobody has figured it out. And you go home and you just can't even sleep, right? You're so excited, you just can't wait to get back to work. And there have been a lot of those, but those are perfect days.
Though most of Yahoo's employees are young and single, Jerry, David, TK, and Sparky are showing definite signs of growing up. Tim, TK Kugel, recently moved into a house after years of living in a one-bedroom apartment. He still loves to work on fast cars, a skill he learned from his machinist father. Jeff, Sparky Mallet, is married with 2 children who contribute to his growing art collection. David, who's happiest letting others do the talking, spends what off time he has with his longtime girlfriend. And 2 years ago, Jerry married his longtime love, a Costa Rican woman of Japanese descent, Akiko.
Are you going to have little Yahoos running around soon?
You have to ask my better half. I really can only get, I get the non-controlling 49% of the vote. She has the ultimate decision.
What's the best thing she does for you?
Well, you know, Akiko's been, we've known each other way before Yahoo started, and she's seen the the hard days, she's seen the early days, she's seen the good days, and she's seen the bad days. And to have somebody who has that perspective but not in the business and not involved is extremely healthy. And she's that person that's my sounding board. And, you know, and it doesn't matter what kind of things I do at work. I go home, I still have to take out the garbage and do the dishes and walk the dog. And I think those are the things that, that keeps us centered.
Do you feel like a grown-up now?
All of this process makes you want to grow up in certain ways and makes you don't want to grow up in certain ways. You know, our naivety and our purism about this medium, I think, still is one of the key things that drives us. I think we've internalized the whole valuation thing as we always have, which is, you know, that's a market's expectation that's been placed on us, and we look at it more as a responsibility to try to reach that potential than looking at it and saying, hey, that's what we're worth today. But you know, it's like playing in a championship game. You're on the field. What are the players playing on the field, and what are people paying to watch the game? Is, you know, that's out of our control. But we just got to play to win.
Whoa! No! To purchase a printed transcript or videotape of Pinnacle and many other CNN programs, please call 1-800-CNN-NEWS. CNN transcripts are available online from LexisNexis. Call 1-800-227-4908. CNNFN.com is the leading financial source on the Internet for breaking news, personal finance, and financial intelligence. For information that's worth a bundle but won't cost you a dime, go to CNNFN.com.
Remember to start the day with Business Day.